Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Ricky Mandle, co-founder and chef at Delicious&Sons. Today we're going to do a show cooking display of 3 very easy, healthy, vegan, great tasting recipes that are also protein packed. Each one has about prep in about under 15 minutes. So we hope you enjoy them. They're very easy. Delicious&Sons is an organic food company based in Barcelona, Spain. We create a whole range of organic condiments, spreads, dips, pestos, and sauces here in the Mediterranean. We're a B Corp certified company, and Delicious&Sons is part of the movement for change, creating sustainable, healthy, great tasting products that are good for you and good for the planet. The first recipe we're going to do are stuffed egg. The first recipe we're going to do today is stuffed zucchini. Stuffed zucchini, it's going to be a vegetarian recipe today because we are going to use an egg, but everything else is going to be with vegetables. It's very easy to make, great as a lunch or dinner, or to surprise friends that you have over. Extremely tasty and very healthy. So let's get right into it. As I said, each recipe we're going to do today is about 15 minutes long to show you how easy and versatile our products are as well. But also you can create these great tasting, great looking meals, very healthy in just about 15 minutes. Okay, so here we have our ingredients. We have obviously zucchini, we have mushrooms, we have spinach, we have some basil. We have gluten-free as well, gluten-free breadcrumbs. We have pine nuts, egg, and Parmesan cheese, and of course our pesto rosso. Pesto rosso, this is made in Liguria in northern Italy with organic basil, Italian pine nuts, and Italian sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, let's get straight to it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our zucchini here, whole. We're not going to peel it, and we're going to cut it in half lengthwise. Okay. When we have our 2 halves, we're going to take a spoon, or you can take a knife, and what we're going to do is we're going to strain, we're going to peel out, we're going to make like a canoe out of the zucchini. Okay, we can just use our knife, our spoon here. It's probably easiest to use a spoon. Okay, and you want to leave maybe just about 2 millimeters around the edge. And we're going to carve out. It's kind of like carving a pumpkin, like any type of these things here. And you can scrape and you can get all that out. There. Okay. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take our zucchini and we're going to scrape out the middle here. You can scrape it out with a knife, with a spoon, and I'm going to do here. Very easy. It's probably one of the easiest ways to do it. Or you can cut it out with a knife. What you want to leave is a couple millimeters around the edge. All right, so when we cook it and when we stuff it again, it maintains its shape. All right, be careful. I'm going to do it gently so the zucchini doesn't break. All right, at the end, maybe you want to use the spoon and just scrape out as much as you can. You want to make it into like a canoe here. Okay. All right, and there we have it. We followed it out. Okay. Now what we do with our filling, you can do this for 1 zucchini, you can do it with 2, we can use another one here. Okay. When you have this, the zucchini has a lot of water in it. You really want to strain it. So not only do we put it in a colander, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a kitchen rag here, kitchen towel. We're going to put it in a kitchen towel here. Okay. And we're going to wrap it up, and we're really going to strain it as much as possible. I don't know if you can see the liquid coming out, and that's just from 1 zucchini. I imagine if you had more here, obviously, there's a ton of water coming out of here. Okay. As I said, you really want to press that down and get it as much water as possible. It's similar if you want to do, if you ever do like cauliflower rice or you're going to make cauliflower pizza or something, you really want to get all the water out of it before you cook it. Okay, so you're really just left with the essence of the cauliflower itself. Okay, right. Clean that up here. We have our 2 zucchinis here, 2 halves here. Okay. We have our filling here of the zucchini. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to finely chop it. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it into a mixing bowl here, right? While we add everything else. Get all the zucchini, put it into our bowl. Okay. Next up, we're going to add mushrooms. Here we have white mushrooms. Okay, regular white button mushrooms. You can do shiitake mushrooms. You can do porcini mushrooms. You can add any type of portobello mushrooms, any type of mushrooms. Like here, we just have some white mushrooms. We've chopped them before, as I said, but it would take a minute or so just to chop a couple. You only need about 2 mushrooms per zucchini. So you want to take a couple spoonfuls here, which would be our 2. All right, and we're going to add them to our zucchini. Okay. There we go. Leave that aside. And now we're going to take our spinach. Again, the mushrooms are raw, okay? The zucchini's raw, the mushrooms are raw, the spinach is raw because it's going to cook in the oven. We're going to bake them when we're done. Okay, now we're going to take our spinach leaves. And again, we're going to coarsely chop them, okay? Spinach gives us a great pack of iron. Okay, all these leafy greens are so healthy for us. Okay, we're going to put these in our bowl as well. Okay, we've added the spinach there, as you can see. Okay, we have our mushrooms, our zucchini, and our spinach. Okay, here we're going to add pine nuts. Add a couple pine nuts here. Pine nuts. Okay. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. These are gluten-free breadcrumbs. They can be any type of breadcrumbs you'd like. You can, if you don't have breadcrumbs, you could also use cornstarch or something like that, or flour, but breadcrumbs work great. We like to do everything gluten-free here. Okay, so we put in and now our egg as well, okay? So we're going to beat in our egg, crack our egg. Put that there, okay? And now we're going to mix this up first, okay? Let's mix that up well. Okay, basically it's like making a filling if you've ever done stuffed tomatoes, maybe stuffed eggplant as well. It's very similar. All right, mix that together. You definitely don't want it to be too liquidy because then it'll run and it won't cook well, okay? So you want it to be somewhat dry, okay? We'll mix that. Okay, when we have that well mixed, now we're gonna add the pesto rosso. Again, this is a sun-dried tomato pesto rosso. It's organic, it's gluten-free, it has no added sugars. Pine nuts as well, has some pine nuts, additional pine nuts in here, which we're gonna add. And this is our, we have 2 pestos. This is our sun-dried tomato pesto rosso, our pesto rosso. We also have a basil pesto, a pesto genovese, which is made with basil and without sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, here we're gonna add 2 generous teaspoons into our bowl. Okay, we'll leave that there. And we'll mix that in. It smells great. All right, and finally what we're gonna add is some grated Parmesan cheese, okay? We're gonna just add a little here and then we'll add a little more on top so it bakes nicely after we stuff the eggplants themselves, okay? It acts as with the cheese and the egg, it acts a little bit as a binding so the filling doesn't come apart while we bake it. As you can see, you could almost, with the texture here, you could almost make this into little croquettes or even, you know, little type hamburgers or patties. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it as a filling for the eggplant here. Okay, that should be good. We'll add a touch of pepper. I don't think we need salt because the pesto rosso has salt, Parmesan also, so it's a little salty. We definitely don't want it over. We also don't need to add oil because the pesto rosso adds that as well, and we don't want them to, you know, to fry. We really want them to bake in the oven. Okay. If you prefer spicy, you can always add a little touch of spice here, your favorite chili or some spicy paprika, chili peppers, or whatever you like here. Okay. So now, since we are going to bake these in the oven, what we're going to do is we're going to take an oven pan. You can use parchment paper, you can use a silicone mat, which is reusable, which is nice. Okay. And we're going to place our zucchini halves, okay, on the tray here. You don't really need, what we'll do is one smidgen of oil on the mat, just to make sure that the base of the zucchini don't stick. So when we take them off, when they're cooked, they don't stick to the mat, even though they shouldn't because it's silicone, but just to make sure. Okay. Now what we've done here is, as I said, we've hollowed out, we have our zucchini canoes here, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill them with the filling we just made. Okay. Definitely want to fill generously. So here are your stuffed zucchinis. In this sense, we've only stuffed 2, so just half of our filling. Make sure you have enough for both halves. Okay. See, we didn't really add that many ingredients. We had more than enough filling for these 2. I mean, these were too big. Obviously, these were a big zucchini, but you really don't need more than that. We'll finish this up. Okay. Put a little more in each. All right. So you have it. And then we're going to top it off with just a little breadcrumbs here and a little more Parmesan cheese, and then we're going to pop it in the oven. Okay. So here you have, we've stuffed our zucchinis. Okay, we have both halves here. Okay. We're going to do a little more breadcrumbs just on top. Okay, and just a little more of the Parmesan cheese as well. And if you want to decorate, you could always put on, if you want some chia seeds or flax seeds as well, you can put on that. You can put on pumpkin seeds. Here we'll put on, because we have them here, we'll put on a couple more pine nuts. And just like that, it's ready to go in the oven. Okay, so we'll put it in the oven here. And we put it in about 180 degrees Celsius for about 35, 45 minutes, depending on the size of your zucchini and obviously your type of oven. Each oven, we say roughly 45 minutes at 180, but it depends on each person's oven. Okay, so that's ready to go. And what we're going to show you now is what they look like. Since we've made this, we're going to take, we have some here that have been prepared in the oven as well. Okay, so we're going to take these out and we'll show them to you. Okay, and we're going to take our tray, our plate, and we're going to show you what the final dish will look like. So here we have 2 that are ready to go. We've made some earlier, okay, knowing that it would take 45 minutes, and we don't obviously have that time here. So, okay, and we'll clean this up. So this is what they should look like cooked. Golden, if you can see now, the zucchini, if you touch it, it's tender, so the zucchini itself is cooked, because you don't only want to eat the filling, you want to eat the whole zucchini as well. Usually with 1 zucchini or 2 halves per portion, it's enough, or for maybe an appetizer with 1, or you could cut it into pieces for sharing. Okay, so. Hi, so for our next recipe, we're gonna do a real Mediterranean mixture. I don't like the word fusion, but this really grabs from all different kind of Mediterranean cultures from east to west. So we have definitely Spanish, then we're going all the way East Mediterranean, also a little Greek as well. It's basically a salad. It's a warm, cold, hot salad with chickpeas, fresh vegetables. It has kind of a Greek salad to it. It's a tabbouleh salad, and we're gonna use a Spanish aioli, which is a vegan aioli as well. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our chickpeas, our garbanzos. These are cooked already. Okay, so we don't need to soak them if you have them raw, if you buy them cooked. If you have them raw, you know, you have to soak them overnight and then cook them for about an hour. Okay, these are already cooked. We pre-cooked these. Now we're gonna saute them in a pan with some oil, and we're gonna add our spicy black olive tapenade. These are black olives from the Aragon region, which is just south of Catalonia here in Barcelona, in Spain. And we have some cayenne pepper and some extra virgin olive oil here. That's it. We're gonna mix these up with the chickpeas, the garbanzos. We're gonna saute them. Okay, they're gonna get nice and crispy. They're really gonna bring out the aroma and a little bit of the spice of the spicy tapenade. While we do that, we're gonna quickly chop some vegetables. We have tomato, we have parsley, we have red onion, we have cucumber, and radishes, okay? Then we're gonna make a little creamy sauce on that. We're gonna put it all together, present it nicely. We're gonna use, as our cream, this is vegan, so it's gonna be coconut yogurt. It's 100% coconut yogurt. It's like a Greek yogurt, Greek style coconut yogurt, so it's, you know, you can see it's really thick, okay? And we're gonna mix that with some spices, a little lemon juice, and with our vegan aioli. It's a saffron and orange aioli. Again, aioli comes from Catalonia region. In Catalan, it's aioli, which is garlic and oil, and that's all it is. It's an emulsion of garlic and oil. In this case, we have Spanish saffron, and we have Valencia oranges as well, and a little bit of turmeric for coloring, which is also what we're gonna use here. We have some turmeric and some curry powder, which we're gonna add to the sauce. We're gonna put that on top, okay? So this is hot. We're gonna add some oil. Not too much because the tapenade also has some. We're gonna start adding our chickpeas as well. Okay, and we're going to add a healthy spoonful of our black olive tapenade. Okay, let's get that open here. And I'm gonna throw in a couple teaspoons of that. Also for the coloring is nice. We really want them to toast and get going, okay? So we'll leave that there. Okay. Great, move that around. Now we're gonna move to our onion here. Okay, we're gonna chop this coarsely like it were like a Greek salad. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with our tomatoes and our cucumber and our radish. We're gonna thinly slice our radish. Okay. There. One cut, and then we'll cut it into small pieces. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to use this bowl. Get it in there. Okay, that's almost done. So again, we're looking for really easy, fast recipes. You can just throw together on a weeknight, friends and family. You know, if some guests come over, it's a great lunch as well. Okay. Next, let's take a tomato. This one looks nice. We're going to chop it in the same size pieces. Okay. Take the top off here. Cut it like. All right. Obviously, this has been washed. Okay. Check on. Okay, we're gonna shut that off, but we're gonna leave it in the pan so it stays warm, okay? Here we go, we have our tomato, and we're gonna cut it into pieces. We might only need half the tomato here. This is a really big tomato. Okay, and one more cut. Okay, let's see if with half the tomato we have enough here. We'll put that into our bowl. Okay. I think we have enough here with half the tomato only. Okay, so we're going to leave that aside. Okay, now we're going to take our cucumber. Let's see, what are these size? These are big cucumbers as well. Yep. So I think with half, we're going to be okay. These have been washed also, okay? All right. I like it with skin. If you want, you can peel the skin. Another nice way to do it is, if you want, you can take your skin and you can peel one side, you know, kind of stripe, rotate it, leaving a piece in the middle. Okay, and one more, and we'll take a small, kind of a small piece here in the middle there. Okay, we'll put this here. Now, let's clean the board before. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Clean our knife. Okay, so we're going to cut our cucumber. Let's cut it in half. Okay, and then we'll cut it into small strips. And we want everything more or less the same size, okay? So we want the tomatoes, the onions, and the cucumbers the same size. And everything's raw, okay? So it's nice and fresh, it's gonna be crisp. I'm gonna throw that into our bowl as well. All right, and all that's left here, we have some radish, which we're going to put in as well. It's going to needs a shake to make sure they don't stick to the pan. Okay, let's take our big radishes. Okay, leave that there. And here to change it up, we're going to cut it into thin rounds. Okay, so we have a little bit of variety in terms of our shapes here. Okay, let's grab one more radish. I love the color of these radishes. And if you have a mandolin, you can use a mandolin as well if you want some really thin, you know, cuts here, almost see-through if you want. This gives a nice kind of bite to it. In addition to the onion, you get this crisp bite of fresh, you know, radishes, and the colors are great. Okay, so we're going to throw that in, spread them out. Okay, so here we have, for now, our quick salad. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of parsley, even though we're really going to put in the radish, and we're going to cut some parsley. We're just going to quickly throw in some parsley there in with the vegetables. Okay. Perfect. There we go. All right, we're going to mix this up. Okay, let the flavors soak in together as well. This is going to be 1/2 of our salad, and the other half is going to be the warm chickpeas. Okay, we don't really want them too hot, which is why we let them sit there so they stay warm, but they're not right out of the pan, you know, right off the fire. Okay, so that's going to be our salad there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our dressing. Okay, so let's take a small bowl here. So that was for the salad. Now we're going to take some more parsley here. All right. And we're going to chop it up because we're going to put a little parsley inside. We're going to mix it with the coconut yogurt. Okay, imagine that it's Greek yogurt. Imagine that it's kind of sour cream, like you have a creamy dressing, creamy Italian dressing, a creamy blue cheese dressing, which a lot of them either use sour cream or buttermilk, or so Greek yogurt. All right, this we're going to make it vegan, and it's not overly powerful with the flavor of coconut. It's not sweet. It has no added sweetener or anything. So we're gonna add parsley to our bowl. Okay. All right, I'll leave our tomatoes there. Okay. I'm gonna clean off our work area. Okay. We're gonna mix in our coconut yogurt. Okay. I'm gonna mix that together. Take another spoon here. So I'll mix that together. Mix that with the parsley. We're gonna add a spoonful of turmeric. Okay. Give it a nice color there. Mix that in. You'll see, we'll add them one at a time. You can add obviously them all together, but you can see the effect of each ingredient as we add. Now look at that changed color. It looks completely different than what it was before. It has kind of an earthy flavor. If you're not used to working with turmeric, it has a nice earthy flavor to it. All right, in addition to being a nice color. Okay, now we're gonna add, this is curry powder. It's a mild curry powder. It's not too spicy. If you like, I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons there, and if you like spice, obviously you can add a little bit more. Okay. And what we're gonna do now is we're going to take our, as I said, our saffron aioli. It's a saffron and orange aioli, and there's 5 ingredients. It's saffron, orange, garlic oil, and salt. Okay, which is why we don't necessarily need to add some salt here. So we're gonna mix this together, and we're gonna throw in several teaspoons. Okay, we'll leave that there and mix that in. This gives it, it's kind of like a tzatziki, a Greek tzatziki, which has garlic and yogurt. This is, coconut yogurt, so it's 100% vegan. It has the garlic from the aioli, so it makes this really nice, creamy sauce. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the juice of half a lemon. All right. We don't want to get any of the seeds, so either do it beforehand or do it over a colander. Just gives a nice touch of acid, a nice acidic touch it's going to take a little bit of the bite, a little bit off the creaminess off the yogurt as well. It's going to take a little bit of bite off the aioli. All right? So mix that. All right. And that's our creamy sauce. All right. Now we're gonna put it all together. All right. We're gonna do a little salt and pepper here on the vegetables. Could do a little oregano if you want, a little bit of Provence, whatever spices you like, something fresh. Okay. We're gonna mix that in. All right. All right. And now we're gonna put it together, but what we're gonna do is it's kind of a poke bowl, a Mediterranean poke bowl, okay? So what we're gonna do is, in an empty bowl here, we're gonna fill half with our vegetables. Hi, in this recipe, we're gonna take your classic pasta bolognese, la salsa bolognese de typical Bologna, which is kind of a ragu, which is a tomato-based sauce with some sort of usually ground meat. It can be lamb, it can be beef, veal, pork, any combination, rabbit, any combination you want, but we're gonna do a vegan twist to it. We're gonna use our vegan organic Italian tomato sauce with Italian olives, and what we're gonna use instead of the meat, we're gonna use dried soy, which is kind of like tofu that we've that you need to soak beforehand, and then we're gonna saute it and we're gonna stew it in the sauce for a little bit before we mix it with our pasta. Again, our pasta is gluten-free as well, so it's kind of a real healthy, vegan, gluten-free meal. It's gonna have the exact same taste, exact same flavor and texture as though it were a real meaty bolognese, but we're gonna throw it together like all the other recipes in just about 15 minutes or under 15 minutes, so you can see that this is really easy and you can just whip it up on any night, or, and it's good enough and it's delicious enough, for your friends and family or when you have guests over. Okay, so let's get to it. The first thing we're gonna do is, I said, you have to soak the soy. We've already done that. It's not tofu, it's a dried soy, which you do need to soak, so you can sell it. You can probably get it in specialty shops or specialty dietetic or maybe organic shops. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna saute onion, okay? Here in our pan, and we're gonna saute onion with some garlic, and we're gonna get that going, and then we're gonna add in our soy and our tomato while that simmers, okay? Let's get going. Here, we have the onion first. We're gonna cut this really thin. You can also do grated onion if you want. All right, we're gonna chop this really thin. It's just a white onion. You could use purple onion if you want. You could use shallots. This is just easy way. This is just half. It's a pretty big onion. I think with half an onion, you probably have enough. Okay. Get that. Those are our garlic cloves. Okay. Gonna add some oil to the pan. Okay, and we're going to saute our onion. We're gonna do the same thing with our garlic. We're gonna cut it really thin. Sometimes in this case, I like to see the little pieces of garlic, little thin strips of garlic. Okay? We don't want the onion to burn, all right? So it's kind of on a high medium heat, okay? But we definitely don't want it to burn, so we'll keep it going, keep it moving around. Here we're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic. Okay. The rest of the ingredients we have here, we have fresh basil. This is vegan Parmesan cheese, okay, it's hot. If you want, this way we can have the whole dish being vegan. If you're vegetarian or you don't mind and you want to use real Parmesan, go ahead. But this is a vegan Parmesan as well. And here we have some white wine, which we're going to add to the onions in just a minute, okay? With a typical authentic Italian ragu, it's a slow cooked, braised meat kind of dish, and you stew it and you make this sauce, and this is our quick weeknight 15-minute version. We've already put in all the hours into the tomato sauce, so instead of using canned tomatoes or fresh tomatoes that you then have to reduce and boil for a couple hours and to make one of those authentic thick sauces, we've already done the work in our tomato sauces. They're ready to use. They're great as is, just on pasta like we're going to use here. You can mix them in with different ingredients like in this recipe. They're great on pizzas as well. You can make kind of an Arabic type shakshuka, add in some spice to it. We have 3 different varieties. This is with our Italian olives. We also have one with mushrooms, and we have a puttanesca as well, which has a small bite to it. One question a lot of people ask also is, what's the best type of pasta depending on, for this type of sauce? I'm sure if you ask different people, especially in Italy, they'll tell you exactly what the exact type of pasta is for the exact type of sauce. For a type of Bolognese or ragu, anything like, we're going to use a tagliatelle here, which is a long noodle, but it's thicker, so it's great for holding the sauce. If you use something like a spaghetti, it's too thin, it won't really hold a meaty sauce like this, or anything with ridges or a short pasta like a penne rigate, or even a farfalle is good for this type of meaty sauce. You want to cook these a couple minutes until they get to be a little transparent. And we're doing the fast forward version, okay? So you're not going to be able to let them sit for 20 minutes because we said we want to get these recipes out in just under 15 minutes. Now after a couple minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to add our garlic here. Okay. And because the garlic cooks a little faster, so we don't want to put it in right at the beginning, otherwise it might burn. Okay. We want to get that good garlic aroma, especially in the oil here. Although there is some garlic in the sauce, this adds a little more punch to it, especially with the soy, which you need to, is definitely more of a vehicle. Obviously it adds a lot of protein, very healthy, great, plant-based meat substitute or protein, vegetable protein, but it's more of a vehicle for the type of sauce or the other flavors that you're putting in the dish. Okay. I'm gonna add a dash of salt here as well. Okay, that's looking good. We're gonna wait 1 minute. All right, we've done the onion, we've done the garlic. Okay. Here we have the white wine. We're going to add this, we're going to mix it together, and then we're going to add the wine for a second before adding the tomato sauce. Here in the pot, we've already cooked the pasta. Okay, as I said, we're using a gluten-free pasta. It's a gluten-free tagliatelle. It's already cooked. What's great is to also always save a little bit of the cooked pasta water. You can use it to thin out the dish, thin out the sauce a little bit if you need. It's got all the goodness from the pasta that you've already cooked it, and it's so much better than using just regular, tap water. Adds more flavor and more consistency as well. Okay, we're going to add, you see, the onion and the garlic. We're going to add in the soy. All right, we're going to mix that up. All right. Okay, we'll add 2 turns of salt, a little bit of pepper. Okay. Okay. We're just going to let that get hot for 1 second, then we're going to add our wine. And the wine, obviously, it's optional if you're doing it with kids and you don't feel comfortable adding the wine when you're doing it with kids. But, all the alcohol burns off, so it's not really an issue. But it's not a must, but does add just a bit of flavor. It's just a white wine. It's a cookie. In this case, it's a French white wine. So we've really done Mediterranean here. It's kind of an Italian dish, but we're adding this little French white wine here. You can see there it is, it's boiling off. Okay. And now we're going to add a full jar of tomato sauce. As I said, it's a ready-to-use sauce, but we're going to let it simmer a little bit here within with the soy, so it really becomes the ragu and typical Bolognese sauce. Okay. One of the tricks I like when we you want to really get all the sauce. You know, you love, sometimes it stays in the jar. So take some of your, as I said, your pasta water, or you can take some wine as well. You can use the wine. All right. Put it in here. You know, mix it up, and you really get to clean the jar and get all the pasta sauce out. All right. You can also do that with the wine instead. All right, so now we're gonna mix this in, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let it simmer for the next couple minutes. It's gonna reduce a little bit. All the soy is gonna take the flavor of the tomato sauce, as well as the onions and the garlic that we were sauteing. Tomato sauce is gonna grab a little of the garlic flavor as well. We don't usually add too much garlic in here, so it's not overpowering. It's not your typical maybe marinara sauce, which is, you know, our basil and garlic sauce. So it's really overpowering. It's more just for flavor. It's very well balanced. The great thing about our tomato sauces as well is there's no added sugar. So it's an organic, it's vegan. There's no added sugar, so it's also going to be paleo and keto as well, Whole30 also if you're following those diets, or for health issues or for other. So it's really great. What we use is, you know, it's extremely high quality tomatoes from southern Italy, you know, red ripened tomatoes, and it's a really slow cook process which we developed to really kind of caramelize the tomatoes and sweeten them enough to balance out the acidic nature, but so we don't have to add any added sugars. Okay, so here we go. So you can see this is what, I'm not sure if you can see that, this is what it looks like. All right, so it's really a tomato sauce. It looks like it could be maybe like, in this case, maybe like a lamb or veal ragu, because it's a little, like a white meat, maybe even rabbit if you wanted to. But as we said, it's 100% vegan, it's plant-based protein here. If you like, you could also add olives here. There are olives in the tomato sauce. You could add some spice if you like some more spice, different herbs, if you want to add more oregano, anything like that. So now we're just going to let this stew and just get a little thicker for just a couple of minutes before we plate it here. For plating, what we have, first we're going to drain this, okay? We have to get a colander, which I believe we should have here. Okay, so we're going to grab our pasta. Be sure to follow cooking indications, especially with gluten-free pasta. You know, without the gluten, it kind of loses its elasticity, so cook it too much and it really starts to break, you know, and then you get all these kind of small pieces when you really like the long strands here, what we're going for the tagliatelle. And if you don't cook enough, obviously it's too hard. It's not going to be al dente or other. Okay, want to get all the water out there. Okay. Let that sit for a second while this cooks. Obviously you want to time it. You want to get your pasta. The great thing about pasta when you're making the sauce is that while you're heating up the sauce or cooking the other ingredients, you can get your pasta going. So time it so the water boils, 5 to 10 minutes or whatever type of pasta you're doing. So it all comes together. So in the time it takes to cook the pasta, your sauce is ready, your pasta is ready, and you can serve it all at once. And you want to make sure you serve it hot because obviously, cold pasta is not, unless it's pasta salad, is not ideal. All right, so this is just about ready here. All right, obviously you could slow cook this for another 20 minutes. We'll put our sauce on top here. And there we go. Add some nice basil on top. A little bit of pepper. And there we have it. Pasta alla Bolognese, vegan, organic, and gluten-free.